Hey, okay, and guys, welcome to the pod. I'm joined by this brilliant guy, man. And we're here to talk about numerology. So yeah, part of the occult, hidden secrets hidden from the people. So yeah, let's get started with it. So yeah, I think the first thing that I have in my mind is, a life path. So do you know your life path?
Do I know my life path?
Yes, do you know yours?
I do. What, as in
So basically, it's your
numerology? As in,
date of birth.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's your date of birth and you add the individual digits of your date of birth.
Yeah.
So that's one part of numerology.
I do know it.
Yeah.
My number's 33, which is actually a master number.
Oh yeah, master number.
Yeah. No, I remember finding it. Out. It came as like more of like a download than anything. I kept seeing the number 33 everywhere. I was like 33, 33, 33.
Yeah.
And then it was when I first started really getting into like numerology and gematria. And I saw the thing about like life paths and stuff like that and calculating your life path. So I did it. And yeah, it turned out to be 33. And I was like, oh, that's a bit of a weird sync, a weird connection, really weird.
Yeah, it is quite weird, If you followed the conspiracy theory rabbit hole, man, that 33, it's a huge number with particular secret society.
Yeah. Freemasons.
Yeah, the Freemasons and the big G,
Big G.
The big G, man. Are you a top G, as Andrew Tate says?
Yeah, the top G.
Yeah.
Whoa, maybe that is what Andrew Tate means when he says the top G. He's the top Freemason.
Yeah, maybe.
No, we're on to something.
Like I've seen on the Twitter, the conspiracy theorists to say Andrew Tate's controlled opposition.
Yeah. I mean, I see stuff like that and I'm like, I can see it to a degree, but at the same time, if they're purporting a good message, a positive message, then I really see no problem with it. Yeah. And controlled opposition, so far in as who's controlling the opposition.
Exactly.
So you're saying that everyone on the opposition is controlled? Well, controlled by what? Controlled by who?
Exactly.
So, controlled by the matrix, maybe, controlled by something higher above. But that doesn't mean that they are controlled in a sense of, or someone's going around and telling them what to do, what to say, how to act. That'd just be tiresome. What you're saying, someone's literally just like that behind, like, you have to do this video, you have to say this, you have to act like this.
Nah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous to think that, but yeah.
Yeah. People are allowed to have opposing opinions. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, and that's what creates the divide in society. And it's what brings the yin and yang together. Do you know what I mean? You have to have the opposing, or there's no.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. We went off topic, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to use myself as an example. My life path, if I remember, is a 6, and I'm not really sure what that means in particular, but if you take my name in numerology, we can head off to the Chaldean one. It's a 69, and when you add the two numbers which you do in numerology, that's called reducing numbers. So 6 plus 9 is 15, and then you'd reduce it further by adding 1 at 5 to get 6. So that's pretty cool. It's the same life path as my date of birth.
Yeah, that is pretty sick, to be fair.
Yeah.
Let's do mine adds up to 3 if you break it down.
Yeah.
So it'd be my first name anyway, so it's Rowan.
Rowan.
And it's 2 plus 1.
Yeah.
3. So yeah. You can always just break them down into make it more simple, and then you'll often see that numbers that pop up in your life are usually quite consistent and are thematically similar. Yeah.
Like I have a huge example that I just figured out a couple of days ago.
What's that?
I'll share my screen for this. So yeah. Can you see it? Just go to the Gematrinator.
The good old Gematrinator.
Yeah. You see, like, for people that are new, when you go on this website, look at this, man. 30 ciphers.
It's incredible. There's a lot of ciphers. There's way too many ciphers to keep track of.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's so many, but we're going to go on to this one. This one's the best one.
Yeah, often to its own demise, really. When you have so many, there's an insane amount of connections that you can make, and then I guess that gives ammo to people who are going to say, "Oh,
Yeah.
when there's so many different options, obviously there's going to be one pattern that shows up." But yeah, as you say, Chaldean usually, or even English Ordinal, those two I think are the main ones that we should be focusing on, really.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
those are the ones with the biggest hit rate and the most consistent. And Chaldean is the oldest.
Yeah, Chaldean's the oldest. If you look into the cipher, it's based off the frequency and vibrations from the universe, so has a lot of power. And
100%.
let's get rid of all the other ciphers, and this will take a while, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, here's one thing I wish about Gematinator is that you can just choose which ciphers you want to have as your preset.
Yeah.
That'd be a good addition to the website. I don't know why I haven't thought of, really.
I feel like there is another website out there that when you go on the Gematinator and it shows the base ciphers, there's an option where you press empty and you can add your own cipher.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna, I'll type my name into this cipher, but before I do that, you see the numbers at the bottom. Each number, each letter is given a numerical value. That's numerology or gematria. And your name that you type, whatever phrase, letter, or word that you type, matches the number that you see. So just to give you an example, if I type my name, it equals 31. Now I'm going to give a sync that I just only realized a couple of days ago. Now, you see that my name is 31 and my mom was born on the 31st.
That's interesting. Of what
And then for one thing, you know how you see the 4 at the end? With numerology, you get the 4 by adding the 3 and the 1. And with the 4, my dad was born on the 4th.
Yeah, that is interesting.
It is. So
yeah,
what does that say? I'm the firstborn, so you can see that number 31 has a lot of meaning.
And the connection. Well, that's pi, isn't it? That's essentially pi. 3.14, you've got the pi there already.
Yeah.
That's something that is heavily talked about in the gematria scope, especially with people like Logan and stuff like that, where you have the assumption that we exist within pi, which is 3.14.
Yeah. We can talk about that in upcoming episodes. I think for now, just stick to this. But yeah, pi is a number that they talk about in school, but they don't go in depth on how huge pi is in the world.
Yeah,
for sure. And yeah, just to give you an example, let me go to this website here. It's like, you see these numbers, they give examples on what these numbers mean. And there's also different meanings of these numbers too. So you see the 2 numbers in particular, 8 and 9. Like I mentioned to this to you last week, and with 8 being about business and money, and the 9 to 5 job is an 8-hour time span.
Yeah.
So does that mean that the people that created the 9 to 5 work routine use numerology to essentially make people be slaves to the matrix?
Yeah. And then even looking at that, you've got your 5, which equals freedom.
Yeah.
And what happens at 5 o'clock, you're allowed to go to freedom. Freedom as in you leave.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a great one. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, that is interesting. That is very interesting.
Yeah.
Whoever, as they say, God is a comedian, and
yeah, God is a comedian. Once you figure that out, once you go down the rabbit hole and look at different layers besides numerology or gematria, you realize, man, life is not what you think it is. Yeah. You see the number 9 there about you said humanitarian.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one example there is if you look at Mother Teresa, her date of birth, she has a life path of 9, and she was obviously known for being a good humanitarian.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, it's just like people, I think the biggest problem in society today is people take the superficial meaning of everything. So like if you go to, I think like things like astrology and these life paths get a really bad rep because of people who are just like generalize, whereas to the point where like, oh, I did this because I'm a Gemini, or I act like this because I'm so and so.
Well,
The thing is, you can break it down a lot more technically, where you've got you've got different planets affecting you when you were born. There's so many planets other than just the sun sign, because that's just a sun sign, like a star sign. But you've got a moon sign, you've got your Saturn sign, you've got every sign in like, and all those can come into play when formulating or
astrology is a whole new layer. Like when you look at it, besides numerology, because numerology in itself, whilst it's good, it's quite limiting. But astrology gives you the truth. Like it often gets demonized because people don't understand it. Like I remember when I looked at it, I was like, you know, people I see on Twitter, oh, Mercury's in retrograde. What the hell does that mean? But when you look at it, it's real, because if you know mythology, and that we'll talk about it in another pod, but Mercury is about communication, and when it's in retrograde, there's a lot of miscommunication.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, speaking from experience, that is true. But I think people don't dive deep enough into it to understand it. It's become memeified almost, to the point where people just assume that, oh, it's associated with like white girls and stuff like that. I think it's just a problem of culture more than anything.
Yeah.
People who see it as like an excuse to act a certain way, they'll say, oh, I did this because of blah blah blah. Sorry, I'm such a Taurus. I crashed.
One more thing as well. I feel like because these topics, they're classed as quote unquote pseudoscience, so they don't get the credit it deserves by academia, because they think, oh, how can numbers have meaning? It's just like you hear mainstream maths, it's quite, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? They don't really trust in it, because how can something how can a number have meaning? It's just there, you wrote it down, and that's it. Like, for example, the 9 times table, like if you follow the 9 times table, 1 times 9 is 9, 2 times 9 is 18. If you reduce the 18 down using numerology, you'd add 1 plus 8 to get 9. 3 times 9 is 27, 2 plus 7 is 9. And it keeps on repeating. So the number 9 is obviously a number that repeats. And
it's the cycle. Death and rebirth is the 1-9.
Yeah. That's in the
19. You have the 19, so the cycle of death and rebirth.
Yeah, for sure. And the 1 to 9 is found in the Pythagorean cipher, which in the gematria is the full reduction.
Yeah.
If I share it now, hang on. If I get that up, wait there. Yeah, I'll get that up now.
And of course, Pythagoras believes that God was a mathematician as well.
Yeah, he had his cult of Pythagoreans.
Yeah.
Like, you see the 1 to 9 that is shown there in the ordinal. Like, I don't know if you did, you know, like in secondary school, the GCSE results, you know how it used to be from A to F, A star to F.
Yeah.
And then they changed it from 9 to 1.
Yeah.
I mean, why does it match the Pythagorean numerology cipher? I mean, does that mean that whoever designed the education system used Pythagorean numerology? I mean, if you look into that cipher, it's classed as modern numerology. It's what, you know, like the top numerologists that do readings for people, they typically use this cipher or Chaldean, but this cipher more because it's a lot easier. With Chaldean, you have the 1 to 8, and numbers are just mixed all over the place.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. I wondered why it was changed. I thought that was just like a new age thing. I think here's the thing. I think partly the reason it seemed to have changed because numbers aren't as telling and aren't as concrete as letters like are a more concrete thing. So as in if you say someone's got an A, it's like, oh, that's really, really good. if someone says, "Oh, I got a 9," you're like, well, what does that mean? Like, is that good? Can you go higher? Can you go
Yeah.
higher than a 9? It's the reverse, isn't it? It's the reverse to what, because A is the first letter of the alphabet,
Yes.
and
And
then 9 is the 9th number. So
yeah,
it's like, why is 1 the first and why is 1 the last?
that's true. And 9 is the last single digit number, so
Yeah,
it has a lot of value in it.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, what have you got next in your mind?
Next in my mind,
Yes.
ooh,
Actually, I've got one thing. One number that is often seen a lot in society, the number 7. Like you got the 7 days in a week. If you do meditation, you know about the chakras,
yeah, the
which
7th chakra.
like the self-improvement community don't have a clue about. But
Mm,
yeah, you have the 7 deadly sins. What else is the 7 colors of the rainbow?
yeah,
So from that, you can conclude that the number 7 is a number of completion,
yeah.
in my opinion. What do you think?
No, I completely agree with that. It's like the symbol of the sun, like 7th day of the week is the Sunday.
Yeah,
The 7th chakra is the crown chakra, the top chakra.
yeah,
Yeah, the 7 does show up. It seems as a presence of almost like attainment, and it's funny because you have the 7, which is like completion essentially,
yeah,
and then you have the 8, which is like infinity.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
the
for sure.
eternal, the repeating, and then the 9 is like the cycle repeating itself. So
Yes, yeah. Like
yes,
with the 7, if we go to the gematria, I don't know if you use this cipher. I've used it before. It's called the septenary. So
yeah,
it's
I think
this one here,
it's
the
the 7th, isn't it?
septenary. Yeah, it just goes from 1 to 7 and then 7 to 1, 1 to 7. I don't use it
Well,
that much because it's not typically used by numerologists, but it's there just to show the patterns from 1 to 7.
yeah, yeah, numbers are everywhere.
Yeah,
Numbers are the language. It's a universal language essentially. So
yes,
devoid of words, how would we communicate? It'd be through numbers,
for
because
sure.
it's a thing that you can just always put your finger on. Like, if you say you met an alien, I'm not saying
Yeah,
aliens are real, but you wouldn't communicate through language because they wouldn't understand you unless they had an extremely advanced way of understanding your language. We
exactly. Because how
through
did people communicate before words?
yeah. So you have like 1, 2, 3. That's just, it's a thing that's there. You can see it's visual
Yeah,
and it's understandable, and it speaks through everything. So as well, when you're thinking about a number or you see a number, it's almost as if that number has an energy and a power. And I
yeah,
think that's helps guide us through like the life paths and stuff like that.
yeah,
The energy that you possess.
yeah. Numbers guide us in this reality. It's just you have to be at a certain level to realize that. But
Yeah.
that will come if you as a person look at this and go deeper and see how, you know, your life really works.
Yeah. I think the best starting place for someone is to just decode yourself essentially. So like you can use Logan's on Decode Your Reality
Yeah, for
and
sure.
list through everything he specifies. Just start with numerology the first, and you're bound to see some connections right off the bat, that you're like, oh, that's a bit strange. Like, why's that happened? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's a bit of a weird one. But there'll be weird connections popping up, and then the more you see a number and the more power you give to it, it's almost as if like the numbers are aware of you, and then you essentially communicate with them, and they send you something, like they send you a batch of knowledge. I think when you see like people talking about angel numbers and stuff, I really think that's missing the mark also.
yeah,
I don't think angel numbers are people sending messages. I just think it's the reality expressing itself.
for
So
sure.
it'll be trying to send you a message about something that's happening or has happened, but it's up to you to decode it.
Yeah,
And I think the best way to do that is through gematria and even like dates, like connecting dates, seeing the span of time, like because dates do have a lot of significance.
for sure.
Yeah, it seems like this reality is set up in a way that there'll always be connections, like regardless of how something happens.
Hmm.
And there's
I
always the
agree with that.
argument made that, oh, that's controlled by what the Jesuits or the Masons, but you'd have to be a very meticulous planner, and you wouldn't really have much of a life if you just sat around all day and worked out when something should happen. And
Yeah,
it'd completely take the fun out of everything. Do you know what I mean? Like,
for
yeah,
sure.
things are planned, but I don't think they sit down with numerology and just plan what time, what second, who should do it, the name of the person that's going to do it, based off their gematria, based off their date of birth and stuff like this. It's all too perfect to be
Yeah,
controlled by a human.
like when I first got into this, I used to think that it was done by man, and you kind of get misled when you first introduce, but as you start to be more aware of how powerful numbers are, you realize, hang on, the secret societies you talked about, they use it, but not in a way that people think, like
Yeah,
that's why people won't get this knowledge unless they, look at themselves and decode yourself, because most people don't know how life works. Most people don't know their path, and the only true path, the only way you're going to know your path is if you decode yourself. Obviously that's going to come with time, because you're hearing this pod, we're just talking about one layer numerology. We'll speak about other layers that will go in depth besides numerology on how this reality works, and you see changes that once you see those changes, you can never go back to a state where you're asleep.
yeah. I think part of it is like just coming to an acceptance that it's also, you can use it as like a soothing tool, really, that whatever happens, as much as like, yeah, you do have free. I do think you have free will somewhat, but
Yeah, I agree.
also it's more of an acceptance of a God existence.
Yeah,
And
of
it,
course. Like,
it's also almost comforting, really. And I
mhm,
think it's better to accept that everyone is being dictated
yeah,
by force, as opposed to pointing fingers and being like, "Oh, this secret society did this, this, this." Oh, it's making my life worse. But because then that gives them power. Ultimately, you're giving your energy over to them and your power, when you have internal power and you can control what you want to do in this life, and it's not dictated by other people at the end of the day.
yeah. Energy is such a huge topic that I think we
Yeah,
should cover, because most people, they give their energy away to the mainstream and or the external resources, or external, news and other bits. Like, it's just feeding the matrix, really, when you do that. And
yeah,
like, you see certain numbers in the news, if you follow the news and you see certain numbers appear, like now, once I've been aware of numbers, I see certain numbers and I know what it means in the news. But
yeah. You almost laugh, don't you? You giggle to yourself.
yeah, I laugh to myself when I see certain numbers that are in the news.
Especially
Like,
33. 33 does pop up a lot more consistently than people believe. When you
yeah,
start looking out for the number 33 in modern media, like just in the news and stuff like that, you'll notice it everywhere. Just
yeah,
pops
for
up,
sure.
and it's
Like,
always attached to like some sort of crisis.
yeah, absolutely. And you know how, like, people that follow the conspiracy theory train, when they see a certain number, they associate it with it being good or bad. But
Yeah,
how can no number can be evil? A number just has it just has meaning that is given to people. That's why I think people don't really understand numerology as such, because people give the number meaning. Like the number 33, if you've gone down the rabbit hole, you see it's tied to a secret society, but the 33, we have 33 vertebrae in our spine.
yeah, 33.
Yes,
Serpent equals 32. And the whole philosophy of the Bible is to ignore the serpent.
yeah.
So when you surpass the serpent mindset of being led by temptation, you ascend to the 33.
Ah, okay.
It's an interesting one. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Um, the snake dichotomy. That's the whole reality, isn't it? The snake biting itself. What was it called? The Ouroboros?
The Ouroboros.
Ouroboros?
Yeah. That Greek name. And like,
yeah.
I don't know why they named it that. You just call it a snake eating its own tail.
Yeah. But you see the snake popping up everywhere though, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
People, but it's like, it's so in your face that you just kind of brush it aside and you don't even notice it. To the point where like ambulances and stuff, they have with like the WHO, they have the snake on the rod.
Yeah, the caduceus.
Yeah.
They use it like the serpent. It's not really bad. It's been demonized that way to eliminate the true meaning of the serpent. Like, I think serpent in numerology is 32 in the Chaldean.
Yeah. And then you rise above the serpent and become the 33.
Yes. The 33 is not evil, guys.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, it can be it can be given connotations of like secret societies and stuff like that. But I think it's because somewhat they're aware of the significance of that number.
Yeah. Especially that it's a master number too. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Like, I don't really truly know what a master number is, but as you go deep into numerology and other layers, I'll probably figure that out. What really 33 is. Again, it's all opinions. Like, maybe that's why people don't understand it, because you want facts, but really there's not. You just gotta give your own interpretation of how this reality works, because everyone will have different views on reality and numbers and other layers of the occult. So yeah.
Yeah, the 33 is very significant. Like the 33rd degree of masonry is the highest degree.
Yes.
As you said, there's 33 vertebrae in the spine. Jesus died at 33 on the cross.
Oh yeah.
While his crown was, he had a crown of thorns stuck to his head, like the crown chakra.
Yes.
That mean he reached the pinnacle of what he could do on earth, and for his actions was sacrificed by God.
Yeah.
It was used as a moniker, as a archetypal figure for people to look up to, because he reached the pinnacle. Yeah,
that's why people really, really worship him and pray that he's the savior, and call Jesus the savior. But in my opinion, you don't need a savior. You gotta save yourself in this matrix.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you've watched any of the Devil's Playgrounds videos.
Yes, I watch him quite regularly.
Yeah. But he did a video I haven't watched him in a while, but Nigel was talking about how Jesus, obviously, like using like etymology and how words sound. If you say Jesus, like it shouldn't really be pronounced like Jesus.
Yeah.
And then that is he's us.
Yeah.
So he is us. We are Jesus.
Jesus. We are Jesus. If you figure that.
The story of man is Jesus. It's just the story of man.
Yeah. We got 10 minutes left, so.
10 minutes. Well, that's a long time, that. I feel like
it is a long time. Yeah. Going back to Jesus. Like, I figured this out. If you're into football, right? Gabriel Jesus, if you know this player, he plays for Arsenal. And if you look at the day he was born, you can look at this now after the pod. He was born on the exact same day of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes. Yeah. The 3rd of April, if that's correct.
Interesting.
And obviously, when he was at Man City, he wore the number 33 first.
Did he?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Pretty cool, but
that's really cool. And now he's joined Arsenal as number 9, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't realise that, yeah. I'll have to look more into that.
Yeah.
Wait, he's a prolific goal scorer now as well.
He is. Yeah, he scores goals every week now, I've heard.
Yeah, but it's like what are the Jesuits lying about his day of birth, or
I mean, his mom, his parents would have to be on it, man. They'd have to.
yeah, that's the thing.
They would have to sit there saying, "Oh, can we have him being? Can we have Jesus being born on the same day Jesus died? It's not possible."
No, I doubt they'll really be thinking about that.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
why would you?
Yeah.
It's just whatever created this reality made it happen. So destiny, if you want to
History
call it
repeating
that.
itself, isn't it? It's just history repeating itself. Like history shows up everywhere,
Yes.
and there'll be ties to theology, and the Bible will just pop up in real life, because at the end of the day, the Bible's probably most likely metaphorical, and it's just telling stories of human nature. So obviously it's going to pop up in real life. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, he will.
Yeah. Well, he's essentially been reborn, hasn't he, at Arsenal?
Yes.
That's the
It's
thing.
quite fitting, really.
Yeah.
The resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. He plays for the Gunners.
Mm.
Trying to find something. Oh, the Gunners. Is there some connection to Rome there, maybe? Or the Romans?
I mean, if you hear about the Pope, I mean, it looks like the Vatican, their time is maybe nearly over. Of course.
Oh yeah, I think the Vatican will collapse at some point soon.
Yes.
I do think a lot of it is coming down. Like Rome is falling again.
For sure.
But it's only a matter of time. I think it's not as doom and gloom as people make out, though. I don't really think people should be insanely worried. I think you do have to do things to protect yourself, but at the same time, like, it's just gonna happen. So there's no point worrying about it. Like,
exactly.
Just
like life is cyclical, whether it's through numerology or astrology or many other occult knowledge layers. It's just gonna happen. Like I had a video just this morning. I talked about death and rebirth.
Yeah.
I had the Phoenix.
Without sound at first.
Yeah, you got sound.
I watched it. I was like, "Oh, is this supposed to have no sound, or is my phone?"
Yeah. I had the Phoenix as the thumbnail. The Phoenix. That's what we are. We go through adversity, and I explain it all in the video.
Yeah, it's like as above, so below. Like, you can apply it to the microcosm as much as you can apply it to the macrocosm. Like, we are just a manifestation of the universe as a whole, but at the same time, like, it'll happen on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
Like, everything lives and dies. That's just the cycle of life. It's not good or bad. Like, it's neither. It's just, it has to happen, or you can't experience either. So if bad times didn't happen, you couldn't experience the good times and be like, "Oh, this is good." Whereas, like, if everything was good all the time, life would have really no meaning or feeling. It'd be neutral. Everything becomes.
It'd be a really boring life to have.
It would, exactly. I think, like Logan says as well, I think he says it a lot, like, breaking free from the matrix is coming to that realization that it's just is, and it's not like a fixed thing. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
That's not like that enlightenment, and just to enjoy the ride while you're here.
Yeah. You know, just imagine life as a theme park and you're going on roller coasters. That's all it is, really.
Yeah, exactly. Life is a roller coaster. Yeah, and numbers show up everywhere.
Yeah, you see numbers all the time.
Yeah, numbers are floating about.
Like, I'll give you an example. Before we had this podcast, obviously, I went on the bus, and the time that I saw the bus was 16:01. And obviously, if you remove the zero, it's a particular number in mathematics called the golden ratio.
Yeah.
I think we'll touch on that in depth in the next episode.
Yeah, we'll talk gold.
I think you've frozen. Well, guys, I mean, we've got.
Can you hear me?
No, you're back.
All right. I think you froze for me as well then.
Yeah.
I think pi and the golden ratio are interesting things to talk about, because there's something weird going on there. Like, even if you do the dates, like, well, I won't spoil it.
Yeah, we can't, man.
No. But yeah, there's some very significant numbers that pop up.
Mm-hmm.
When you start noticing them, they'll pop up more and more.
Yeah.
They're just everywhere.
So yeah, so like, have you got any more to say? Because I feel we can wrap this up.
Not really, no.
Yeah, so yeah, we can wrap up the pod here. We talked a bit about this Logan guy. We can put a link in the description of his channel. You can check him out. You know, I'll be honest, with personal experience, when I saw this guy, I was like, this guy's talking nonsense. I mean,
yeah,
he's got all of this layers that he's using, and it's all quite confusing, and like, but man, all my truth bombs. It's quite complex at first, but as we talk about the layers in the podcast, the ones that he uses, and it will be a lot easier for you to see and make your own conclusions, logical conclusions. Actually, you gotta use common sense.
Yeah,
most people don't do use common sense, but you gotta use common sense on what life is like and how it really works. Again, I'm not saying I don't know how life works, but after what I've discovered, I've kind of realized like life is not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
So yeah. And you mentioned the Devil's Playground. We can put a link there as well.
Yeah. Well, I need to watch more. I haven't watched one of his videos in a while, just because
neither
it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really interesting, the stuff he talks about.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, that's the end of the pod. We'll catch you guys next time. So yeah, have you got any final words?
No, thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks.
Hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, subscribe to both of our main channels as well. This guy does incredible impressions of self-improvement YouTubers. You know, he's not been on the YouTube for a while, man. I've took him out the YouTube grave.
Yeah, I know. I'll be back on soon.
Soon. When soon? Is it 2 weeks, 1 month?
Oh, I'll try and get one uploaded in the next month. I was thinking about doing one, so I won't give anything away, but it might be to do with Donald Trump.
Okay. Well, you heard it from him now, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Wonder what he's got, but hey, the meeting's going to be over soon. So thanks for listening, guys, and catch you next time.